I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't hear. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear the thoughts build up until I can't hear. That my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. Almost a week ago now, 55-year-old Gaynor Lord left her work at a department store earlier than usual and headed to a nearby cathedral in Norwich. For those who don't know, Norwich is the lower part of England and on the east side, fairly near the coast, or in colloquial terms, above London, on the right side, close to the big bulge in the English coast. Thanks to CCTV, we have a fairly good idea where Gaynor went after she left work and when she was at various spots on a route that took her to Wensum Park on the River Wensum. That's also where several personal items were discovered. Mrs. Lord's disappearance sparked a huge search after her olive-coloured coat was found in the river at Wensum Park shortly after 8 p.m. on Friday, on that day that she disappeared. Her work shirt, a yellow tank top, 2 rings, glasses and the mobile phone were also discovered nearby. On Sunday, day 2 of her disappearance, the park where Gaynor disappeared was closed. On the Tuesday, day 4 of her disappearance, sonar equipment was brought in and the search went underwater. Any of this sounding familiar? The police force has been taking a systematic approach to the search according to certain media reports, and at the moment that search is centered on Wensum Park but may move further downstream. Specialist divers from the Lincolnshire Police joined the hunt yesterday, well that was Wednesday. As mentioned, the police are in possession of Gaynor's mobile phone as well as jewellery, 2 rings and clothing. This was found around 8:10 p.m. on the day that she went missing. They are studying the mobile phone in an effort to establish her state of mind as well as to determine those who she was recently in contact with. Recently, Gaynor's daughters both reposted several versions of Norfolk police appeals for information about their mother's disappearance on Facebook. The River Wensum becomes tidal in Norwich in an area close to New Mills Yard, which is less than a mile from the park where Gaynor disappeared. When you cobble together all the CCTV, and I must say it looks like she's in quite a rush. You know, she seems to be jogging a lot of the time, and on one occasion almost is hit by a car, and then shortly after that again. She seems to be in a rush to get where she's going. She seems to be wearing sneakers as well, and she was last seen at this park at 4 p.m. on Friday. She spent around 30 minutes in the Norwich Cathedral, perhaps meeting someone, perhaps spending some quiet time with God. Where things stand now, almost a week later, we don't know where she is. Search teams have fine-tuned and then refocused their search on the river in the park where she was last seen. According to the Daily Mail, earlier today, Norwich police released images and footage that show the missing mother smiling as she left her place of work before she was spotted on camera running down a street in the city centre with her coat in hand. Mail Online has contacted the force, that's the police force, over reports she could have met a mystery person before disappearing. Specialist deep-water police divers from neighbouring Lincolnshire were photographed searching the water in Wensum Park this afternoon, that's yesterday. The teams were equipped with enhanced sonar equipment to search the water. Mrs. Lord's husband Clive, 63, a financial advisor, has not commented on the case. Now, those who know me know that I covered the Bulley case in some depth when that was a live developing story. And what I want to do now in this analysis is share a few cursory intertextualities with the Bulley case.
Are you sure you want to hear this?
Before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you're finding this analysis meaningful, please like, share, leave a comment. You can also hit the thanks button, and let's get started. Number 1, geographically, Norwich and St. Michael's on Wyre are both situated on tidal rivers, and the etymology of both rivers mean the same thing. Wyre means winding, and Yar, which is what the Wensum River becomes, means winding as well. Number 2, Gaynor and Nicola both disappeared during the coldest winter months of the year. Gaynor in early December, Nicola in late January. Number 3, Gaynor's personal possessions were found, including her mobile phone, same as Nicola Bulley, and I suppose I should say right next to a river. Number 4, both women disappeared on a Friday. Nicola first thing Friday morning, Gaynor last thing Friday afternoon. Number 5, in both cases a witness saw each of the two women near a river shortly before they disappeared. In the Gaynor Lord case, the witness, Rosie Richards, was walking her dog at around 4 p.m. According to Richards, Gaynor had removed some of her clothing and appeared to be doing yoga poses. Although it's too soon to rule anything out, foul play seems unlikely given the recovery of Gaynor's phone and rings. I suppose it's possible that she was carrying a handbag with money in it. It's also not clear whether she had a car, and if so, what happened to the car keys. Also, the similarities to the Bulley case haven't been lost on the local constabulary. According to Mail Online, quote, when asked about the similarities between the disappearance of Mrs. Lord to Ms. Bulley, the police chief said the forces absolutely and have been linking in with Lancashire Constabulary to understand any of the lessons learned from Ms. Bulley's inquiry. Now, if you ask me, one of the lessons learned, or that should have been learned, was not to underestimate the tidal aspect of the river. And in that case, in the Bulley case, they seem to not search far enough down the river early on. And that is certainly one area that they haven't applied in this case yet. They haven't searched further down the river. And that may be because they are systematically first searching closer to where she was last seen, which does make sense. What I think also needs to be borne in mind is that in both circumstances, at just before the point where the disappearance occurs, another river, another tributary, joins the river, and it kind of becomes a bigger river and a faster flowing river. And I think one's got to look at the drainage basins and also the weather over the period where the person's gone missing. Has it been raining? Is that going to be affecting the volumetric flow rate, and as well as the turgidity, how transparent the water is compared to what it usually is? I can't help wondering whether Gaynor saw what happened to Nicola, and perhaps this led to the seed of an idea, simply because both towns, as I said, are set on tidal rivers. When looking at some pictures of the Yar, it's difficult not to think of the Wyre. I'm not going to take it further than that, except to say I never agreed with the official inquest. I never really covered it. I never really covered my response to it in terms of the Nicola Bulley case. I didn't think there was foul play, but I also didn't think that Nicola Bulley fell in by accident. It remains to be seen just how much this case will correspond to that one. But now, almost 7 days later, it's difficult to be optimistic if one is realistic. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.